Well, hello everyone. You show right here is the Gold Monument 24. Talk about a future is born, and you have right here of was like talk about for advertisements, and advertising. If anybody were wondering to what does that usually mean? Whenever you advertise, it's basically mean that you're announcing, and it could also mean as to where that maybe new products or maybe just about the way that it's displayed. The new stuff that I'm sure that anybody that's been looking around for this new stuff or something like that. It could maybe be related to computer software or maybe just the ways of how to celebrate the holidays, that sort of stuff. And you weren't to where that since you're a student, going to school or maybe on your birthday, that you would maybe think that if you would be if you would earn some extra cash, or maybe if you would earn some credit or anything like that, to where that you would be talking about stuff and try to advertise stuff, so that way you have customers or anybody want to buy it. And you have right here is this right here is example right here of like the app right here that I have for my art, the Curios art store right here. So you have right here are these different paintings right here that you can buy from the art store on Curios.com. Have right here is a future is born, and basically means I talk about for the Gold Monument. The Gold Monument that it's like knowing that you talked about before. Since about a year ago that happens that from 1 and 3 Gold Monument 1 and 3 that I was talking about from whenever my birthday and graduation had come on at the same time. And since then that I have gotten upgrades and collected a few other things to talk about for fireworks. And if anybody wonders, is that around this time of the year that how many of us would have fireworks. So you have right here is the school bus, source of fireworks right here. Talk about the school bus, and you have right here is the caution labels right here for the school bus right here. And this other source of firework right here is a globe. And I don't know if anybody has seen this source of a firework before, but I say with the globe right there. And with the globe that I still have these fireworks. I kept them around since the 4th of July of this year. But it's like, that you're looking at these fireworks and knowing about that there's something about them to where that other than that you just burn them. Or, like say that, or if it's like so far as celebrating, the birth of America. And, but you have right here, the globe right here. And, so you got these, you got the caution labels right here. We got the globe to source firework right here, and then also that you have right here is this bottle rocket right here. So they have right here is this bottle rocket design right here. So you got this bottle rocket right here, and if we can see this right here, that this bottle rocket. But so that if you're going to be buying fireworks and knowing about talk about for safety first, but you have right here, really that I mainly also talk about the Gold Monument, talk about the Department of Treasury right here. So for the United States, the Department of Treasury. So this right here that shows right here is to represent the Statue of Liberty, but I represent as to where if that's supposed to be me right there, and if I were to be holding the torch, such as something to be honored. So it's like that as to where the Gold Monument basically means is that that you were to be picturing the Statue of Liberty candle on your birthday cake. And how many of us will maybe think that if there's going to be like a range, if there's going to be any source of birthday cake design to where that you can maybe get it to where like have right here is the Statue of Liberty that represents for freedom on a birthday cake. And so of course it talks about 25 years later, and knowing about for how much accomplishments that I was able to accomplish while I was attending school. But still, that talk about for the Department of Treasury. And with this painting right here that shows right here is the Statue of Liberty, and you have right here is the torch right here. And I can talk about this to everybody, but but talking about by every year that you're going to have a birthday, that it's going to be celebrating each year that you turn about a year older. But how many of us are really going to celebrate the birthday just by saying to where that if it's been 25 years, and about knowing about how much that has been accomplished. And if anybody were to ask me that question to where that for anybody's birthday, that why would you want to think and look back and knowing about how many years have passed based on your career and based on what you've been doing, whenever you can think about you're turning a year older, then that means to where people want to give you presents, something to enjoy for the next 8 months or something like that, and a gift card or something like that. But really, about how many of us are maybe going to want to really think back as toward the 25 years that have passed, and knowing about for what is going to be paid to you, what's going to be given to you from the school. And for about over 11 years, I can maybe think about this right here to where that while you're in school, that they don't really, how many of them are really going to honor you just because, your birthday, that you earn about 500 more points just because you come to school on your birthday, or maybe because your birthday is marked by this special occasion, whichever it was. But still, that knowing about for our birthdays, though, that special times. And this right here, that we can see this right here, but talk about for planet Earth right here. But let's just say that that with Earth, though, that we talk about a future is born for 2018. But the reason why that I tell everybody else about this gold monument story right here is talk about for advertising as well as for whenever a future is born. And I'll know that between now and by the year 2021, and I keep thinking too that by my birthday, by the year 2021, that it's possible that you're going to go ahead and see what happens from there, and knowing about how far that you get with your college years, and as well as if you wind up opening up your own business and doing work at the business of some sort. But as of right now, that this is what I have right here, and you have right here is my mobile phone with some of my paintings. But let's just say that later on, if I do wind up getting a job to where that maybe I'm going to be advertising about other products and any other source of work that I could be doing at a later on point. And we warned to where that a lot of that work is going to be recorded on a pay stub, on your tax information. So it's like when we file our taxes per year. But let's just say that back when I was 4 years old, I'm like, this birthday, when I'm talking about the gold monument story, talks about back when I was about 4 years old, that a lot of things that you say, whenever you make a wish and blow out the candles, you don't really remember all what you really wish for, other than maybe if you blew out the candles, and maybe that you were also thinking about is that that maybe something that maybe your own TV or anything like that. But how many of us wish to be able to go to college, and for that college arrangement that could be paid for, job could be paid for, anything that you've been waiting for, that's going to be paid for, but it's going to not be paid for right away. And if we were to work the math of talking about college years, and whenever my birthday falls every year, whenever my birthday falls between now and by the year 2019 or by 2020, that knowing about for what's going to be considered paid for, what's going to be what's called considered to where that negotiating with the payments. But still that I guess the main objective would think about is to where every year that you're going to have a birthday, ever since 2014, ever since 2014, nearly 2.5 years ago, that it goes by saying is to where whenever you're going to have a birthday, then you're going to have birthday wishes, your people saying happy birthday, and they send you something or give you something, or give you a phone call, or maybe write you some text or something like that, and that source of attention. But how many are going to maybe think as to where that you're going to have a birthday, and thinking that by every year that you have a birthday that you turn a year older. But then there's something else on the cake. There is something else on the cake, but then you're trying to figure out what it is. And And if anybody will warrant to where that, every year you have a birthday, there's going to be something else on the cake. And, or in the card. And it's all about figuring out what it is, right? But let's just say that that something else on the cake could also mean is toward it, which means freedom, liberty. For freedom, liberty, basically what I mean by freedom, liberty is to where that that whenever you work and then you file your taxes, and as well as while you're in school, that you're basically honored for the academic achievements. So let's just say if you were working full time or working part time, so while you were in school, that there's something else on the cake. And if anybody say, yeah, well, invitation, or maybe yeah, that's something else on the cake is also related to school. So while you're in school, or maybe while you're running your own business, maybe if you have your own office or running your own business or headquarters or anything like that, that this is stuff that we can maybe think about. And how many of us are going to maybe think that you don't really want to have to deal with your taxes, especially on your birthday? I'm like, that's usually around the time that tax time is over with. But how many of us are going to maybe think that, oh, okay, well, your taxes, huh? I'm like, yeah, the taxes. That why would you want to have to deal with those, on your birthday? And you think as to where that, yeah, well, maybe a lot of things that maybe you don't want to have to deal with on your birthday also. But let's just say that if it's maybe going to teach you something, or just to kind of, give you an idea about whenever you take care of your taxes and take care of anything else that you got to take care of, but really that by every year, maybe between every 4 years, that whenever you have a birthday, that there's going to be what you call that source of honor. And that's usually how I look at it, is to where that a future is born, is a source of honor, to where whenever I look at my picture right here, plus whenever I look at my name, I was looking at my name in 3D actually on another painting, but like whenever you look at your name, your name may not just say your name, as to where that there's something special about the name, to where that known for honors. And so especially on our birthdays, especially that if you were to be advertising anything on your birthday, and think about if it's going to be paid vacation, or if it's going to be anything related to it's like the state of North Rica postal paid, or anything like that, that we can also think as to where what exactly does all that mean? There's something else on the cake. But still, that you have right here is for planet Earth. I'm sure most of us have seen this talk about for love stars. But you're talking about for the gold monument, though. I really wanted to mainly talk, about the things that we have now compared to what we had, nearly 10, 11 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago. But still, though, that I look at this day as like for a future is born. For the gold monument, is that whenever my birthday comes by next year, and no one knows for honors as to where the future is born, that whenever I think about school enrollment, and whenever I also think about is to where that a number of achievements and goals, and think as to where that 4 years, it's like it goes by saying, is to where 4 years after you were born, and 25 years 25 years after you. So if we were to do the math right here, and thinking as to where that for how much accomplishments that meets the actual expectations of the goal. So ever since my 4th birthday, and then by the time my 34th birthday, whenever they come together, and then that's basically what it is that by my 4th birthday, of course, I probably did not even know what the Department of Treasury was. I probably did not even know what all this fireworks stuff was. I probably did not even know what this mobile. I'm like, on your 4th birthday. My 4th birthday would have been about 1988, and all this technology. I'm like, that all this stuff that we have nowadays that not had back then. And you're like Warren Tour, that if you would have had it maybe at the table, on on the top of the cake ready to blow out the candles. And what's one thing that maybe you would maybe wish for, huh? It's like, yeah, that looking at all these paintings, and let's just say if your parents would have given you maybe like a little comic book to read or something, or maybe if it's anything about, that you got right there is my future family right there by the year 2023. Mentioned that. You talk about for the Department of Treasury right there. But still, that how many of us are going to maybe think that, from what you wish for from your 4th birthday and compared to what you're going to wish for on your 34th birthday? And so we may think that, yeah, and what do you think you're going to wish for on your 44th birthday? And I don't know how many of us are going to think is to where that I want to take my retirement by the time I'm 64. And so you're likely wondering toward it, how many of us are going to maybe think that, I wish to take my retirement at an earlier age other than having to wait until I'm 63 or 64. Or if it's anything about, you want to have kids within a certain time, and maybe you want to have paid, more paid tuition costs, or maybe if it's a paid for business card, business ID, or pay for a car. I'm like, how many of us are going to maybe think that if you're going to be due for a new car that is drivable, that you want to go ahead and say that it should be paid for with my taxes. And how many of us will maybe think that after you graduate that you want to have enough money, or you want to earn enough money to get a car, a brand new car paid for, or a house? So that's really what I'm looking for, is to where that do we have to wait maybe 14 years for something like that to happen? Or maybe, 5, and I know that, every year, 1 year seems like a lot of time for a lot of us, especially if we're going to be working hard. But you see right here of, talk about for the gold monument, that this phone right here that I'm showing you right here is a new phone, but still that, talk about for the gold monument, that back when I was about 4 years old, that I would probably say that anybody who's younger than the age of 8 would probably say they're going to go and push a few buttons, and maybe they're going to push something that they don't need to push. But still, they have right here is best friends right here. Do I recall very many of my best friends coming to my birthday party back in 1988, and knowing about what all I did if I had any ice cream and cake, any ice cream and cake or some sort. But talk about for a future is born, that how many of us can maybe remember as to where that from your 1st birthday and then from your 4th birthday or your 5th birthday, that about how many friends that showed up that year, and compared to your 8th birthday, that you may have had, and I know that I had a couple of birthdays I had at those restaurants. So if anybody wanted to wear that the gold monument, huh? I'm like, not very many of them that maybe have them there at the schools, and if anything, that they didn't call it the gold monument, they just called it the birthday. A birthday. I'm like, the 5th birthday, or maybe the 8th birthday, or the 11th birthday, and so on. But you're like warned to where that there's any source of known for honors for these birthdays besides the gold monument, story of the gold monument birthday. It could also mean is to where that the Baskinal birthday or something like that. Baskinal is to where that you celebrate. If anybody say if you're going to be opening up a business and you're going to maybe call it the Baskinal birthday or something like that. Baskinal, different birthdays that may have different meanings, but then at the same time they have something to do with your taxes. So that's usually the way I look at them, as to where, when every year, whenever you file your taxes, that why does it remind you of your birthday? And you're likely warned to where that best friends, though, that really that on your birthday that you don't even have to worry about your taxes, but still that. I could say that almost everybody say that, if it's a driver's license or any source of ID, that you're thinking is to where that, what exactly, I did not, of course, love stars right here. But of course that whenever I was about 4 years old, that I did not even know what all this stuff was. So it seems like for being a natural born citizen, though, that it seems like half the time that for what you gotta do now, and compared to what you had, what you were responsible for doing. So you go a little more, but anyway, here's some more, more paintings. Our planet, clean Earth. So you have right here's the Earth, and you got right there's the sun and the satellites. So you have these, this is paintings right here. You can go to Curios.com and look at these paintings. But anyway, but you got right there's for planet Earth. Right there's the satellite, and you got right there's the Earth at 25. Earth Life 2025. So it's like, that if anybody were wanted to read any articles or comic books that your parents would have given you those years ago, that you would have been able to enjoy to read and then enjoy to look at. And just thinking is that, whenever you're going to, talking about your future is born, that, 4 years after I was born, that just thinking about the gold monument year, that 34 years that have passed, and thinking as toward how far that I have come to where, so far as if it's artistic skills, and knowing about for where my future is going to be headed, and I know that, but besides the golden birthday, that by 18, I'm like, if you were born between the 12th and then the 18th or maybe the 20th or so of the month, and then about maybe every, besides leapfrog year, that about every maybe 7 or 8 years that you're going to have a birthday to about maybe every 10 or 11 years that you're going to have a birthday, that you're going to call it something special. And that something special may not be the gold monument or the Baskinell birthday. It's going to maybe be the Telecalian, maybe Irish or something like that. For about every 11 years that you're going to have a birthday, that there's going to be something given to you, that there's going to be some sort of award or something like that. Anyway, but really that what is the main important reason about birthdays in particular? And if anybody wanted to where that the way that you were raised hasn't always been about to where that you're turning a year older and you can celebrate with the birthday cake, and and then how many of us are gonna maybe think that you're a little bit too old for birthday cake, aren't you? How come that you don't want to go on a paid for vacation or something like that? Maybe after you get married or something, that you want to get on an airplane, go on a vacation somewhere, go on a business trip or anything like that. You go visit other states and other countries and go to the museums or something like that. But still, that the number of things that we can maybe think about, but still, that seems like it's all about, it's like for what we can afford, but really that that for good, for birthdays. So most birthdays, we may think that that the way that we were raised, a lot of times it was all about the special dinners, and then the birthday cake and candles, and then the presents, and spending time with our friends and family, right? But how many of us are going to maybe think as to where that it's all about for business reasons, and as well as your skill that's been promoted to a company or maybe for the Department of Treasury, to where if you are considered to be a natural born citizen, then this is paid to you due to the fact because your birthday was today. And I know, like with most tax offices, that they ask you to where if you were a full resident living in the state of Ohio or Michigan or maybe in the state of Missouri, that they're going to ask you questions about to where that you qualify for full credit, or that any source of credit paid to you just for being a legal resident whenever you file your taxes. And so a number of these, a number of sources of information that is related to our taxes especially. And you're warned to where back whenever you were 4 years old, that was before that you're like, that a lot of that stuff that you do nowadays, that that was, look back, and if it's been over 25 years ago, and that is toward what all they have nowadays, and compared to what they had, back then. But still, that looking back, from back in 1988, from whenever I had my 4th birthday, that keep thinking too. I'm like, yeah, 3rd or 4th birthday, or maybe your 5th birthday. That how many things, whenever you blow out the candles, about how many things have you wished for that you, if you ever got them. And one of those things that I really wanted, of course, was a college degree. Yep, college degree. Yeah, I wanted a higher education, and I wanted a college degree. But how many of us are going to maybe ask to where that, oh, okay, why is that considered a birthday present? You know that just because it's your birthday, that don't mean you're going to get it. You can't just walk into a store and then look at a lamp, and if you like the light on that lamp, or maybe you like that candle, you can go buy it, right? That a college degree, that I'm like, yeah, you buy your tuition, don't you? You buy a college degree, don't you? Well, if anything, that's another story too. That I'm sure, and I know that like most parents, though, that how can they explain to their children about how it works? That do you really buy it, or is it really what you call as if anybody were to say maybe like a deposit or something like that, something, so you're paying for it, but still that I guess if that's really what you call buying it, or if it's really anything about what you call it like some investments, so I'm like, yeah, that how can we explain it about that from whenever the tuition cost begins to where a portfolio portfolio and a future is born. For whenever a future is born, that the way we think about this right here is to where whenever a future is born, by July 18, 2018 right here at 8 a.m. basically means to where that's my birthday. But on the other hand, that is also means to where a future is born, to where you don't really buy this what you're working on. You don't buy that college degree. It's got to be earned. And that the reason why I use this title to talk about for the gold monument is besides advertisement, is also talking about is to where that by that year that you would have a source of college degree to where you can get a good paying job, and then go to the next steps. But how many of us are going to maybe think is to where talk about for advertising, that any source of advertising that you do work on, that it basically means is to where that if you're going to be advertising fireworks, and how many people are going to maybe think that buy fireworks, that number of things that I'm like, yeah. And you're like, say, well, if anything, that they would probably, if you were to put advertisements up, maybe for phones, or maybe for flashlights or something like that, waterproof flashlights or waterproof phones or something like that, and for any source of advertisement that you're going to be working on. And what they mean by advertisement in marketing stuff is to where that you talk to the audiences, you talk to them about what this is, and then how I can use it. And I guess you say that is it maybe going to catch the audience's attention a little bit more whenever you demonstrate, just about how it happened. You demonstrate about how it works. But let's just say that if you can impress the world with anything, and let's just say that ways of how to sign your name. Yeah. How many of us would maybe say the way that you sign a date and how you sign your name? That people have done that so many times to where it seems like that ain't nothing new. That there's a space between the C and a G. And if anybody wonders, is that's spelled like that maybe on the medical disability records and on my birth certificate. But how many of us are going to maybe think that to where that you're going to want to buy something to use to sign your name? But this way it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to maybe be some way that other people are going to probably say that if they would like to buy it, they would go and try it before they buy it. And but let's just say that that the way you signed your name is more comfortable, and with it, the way that you sign, and plus that the way how the new product works. But let's just say if anybody were to where that why would anybody really want to advertise anything? And But and then plus, people are saying that who would want to buy it anyway? But let's just say you're signing your name. Signing your name basically means is to where it's like a stamp. It's like a sticker. Yeah, like I talked about from Gold Monument 4 or 5, like a sticker. And how many of us will maybe say that you want to go ahead and keep your autograph as like a sticker, to where it's like a sticker, to where that you keep it. It's on. Maybe you can keep the file. Something saved on your phone, to where all you gotta do is it's like a stamp. I guess if you're like not really like a sticker, I guess a sticker can maybe peel off very easily compared to a stamp. But let's just say if you can use something like a stamp, to where you can stamp your own name on something. And how many of us would maybe like to buy something like that? Yeah, stamp your name right here. The Department of Treasury. It basically means is to where that you are authorized. Yeah, that just to be able to receive your tax return for that year, that you would like to stamp your name, or that you would like to go and include like a little logo or a little artifact right there of a birthday candle. It's like, today is supposed to be my special day, and I would like to stamp my name right here, just initialing to where that I file my taxes, and my taxes are correct to the best of my knowledge, and then I also request to have further information. So yeah, that a number of us will maybe want to where that, especially on their birthday, is to where when exactly, like whenever you buy stuff and for what is earned to you. And we may think to where that college tuition, is that really something that you buy, or if that's something that you're just what you call if we would call it investment, to where it's not really, it's just something. It's something that costs money, but at the same time that you're not really buying it. It's basically like an agreement, and if you want to look at it as to where it's basically an agreement to where for how well that you do, and for the promises that you make for the school, and then the work that you do from the school, and then from your job, that sorts of stuff. So we may want to where they're talking about for the Gold Monument that about every year that you're going to have a birthday, that you may be used to having so many candles on the cake, but let's just say that by next year it's like for the future is born, to where you're going to be seeing something else on the birthday cake. And besides the candles, it's possible that you could be getting certain source of mail on your birthday, and one of those you could be from the school or from whenever you filed your taxes. But still, that how many of us will maybe like to buy something to where you can stamp your name? You can stamp your name and consider it to where that your date of birth, and then other source of information that provide to where that marks for on your birthday especially. But so it seems like with Earth though, and how many of us are going to maybe want to where if you can draw a planet Earth using a variety, using about 3 different programs, is like a designer, and you would go ahead and draw that in the details of maybe North America and South America right there, and by the time you meet somebody and you're like, wondering to her, really, what can you do really to impress the world, and what can you do? I'm like, even though if you are much smaller than the world, but still that person may want to word it, well, you can always love and support. But still, about how many of us maybe think that you're going to have a boyfriend, you're going to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you're going to have somebody in particular that you're going to love, on your birthday, and think as to that you've known them since you were about 4 years old. But then, you wind up losing touch with them, or really, I'm like, do we really lose anything? But if anything, you lost touch with them, and then you reconnect after about 15 years. So if anybody wanted to, a lot of your friends that you used to know, that why is it that sometimes it takes about maybe 15, maybe close to 20 years, to be able to reconnect with them. But so it's like, seems like to where that, works the other way around, to where they, you stamp your initial and then somebody finds you on social media or something like that. But anyway, talk about the advertisement. So we talk about, for announcement, just to announce something. And how many of us maybe think that if this is supposed to be like for work or for a class project, and you start talking about stuff and people start buying it, and at the time you're like, Warren, to where advertisements. You see advertisements almost everywhere, but really that something else that works to where people will probably say that, hey, that, by the time I figure this out, yeah, I'll go ahead and buy, I'll go and buy a ticket this time, or I'll go and buy a postal stamp this time. But, anyway, but talk about for what we call true love as well. But other than that, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.